Yes, hello everybody. This is our second greenhouse chat, and Dr. Mirza and I put this on with a lot of joy. And him and I chat before and after the greenhouse chat. We usually have a little discussion how it went and stuff. And in our greenhouse chat, we invite speakers, we invite people from supply companies, but that doesn't mean that we solely endorse those people. We give everybody a fair chance, and we really want to make sure that everybody understands that we are sometimes giving advice, but you have to use common sense when you're trying to use this advice. It may not work in your facility, so please try things before you go whole hog with any of the things that we suggest. But we hopefully are here to do some troubleshooting, and we are going to welcome a few guests. But one thing I would like to ask the group is last week I forgot to mention that somebody was asking what we do for greenhouse insurance in our province. And there is a few companies that, and if you don't mind, put in the chat, in the message box, who you are insured with. That we are insured with a company out of Medicine Hat called BrokerLink, and Ted Noble is our guy there. He has been for a lot of years. I'm not sure who the new owners are with, but that's who we were with. And there is a few restrictions. When you get greenhouse insurance at the level that we had it, you do need to have a record that you keep your buildings at +5, because under any kind of snow load and the building collapses, they want to know that you've kept the greenhouse warm enough so that the snow, could shed. So that's a restriction. And the restriction that we had was that we had to have foundations under our greenhouse, or pilings or something like that. They couldn't just be sitting on the ground like cold frames. But we did allow to have business interruption, even theft when we were retail. So a very full comprehensive package. And of course it comes at a price, but it always allowed me to sleep at night. And even one thing that I thought was really cool, we have a generator, and if we maintain the generator and we have a record of that we maintained it, when we fueled it, when we last ran it, and why, and the day that you need it, because there's a power outage, it doesn't start for some reason, then you are still insured, because you have a record of that. You always try to maintain it. So I thought those were some very cool features on the insurance package that we always had. So in the chat, if somebody has another insurance company that they deal with, or that they would like to write, then we will leave that here for the people who are watching the YouTube video later on. So okay, we are going to welcome our first guest. And Tracy, if you don't mind, ladies first. We have two people that are going to speak to us, but you're already the co-host, right? Tahiba's not the co-host yet, Mirza?
No, I thought Tracy is going first, so...
Okay, then you know what? I was Tahiba. It was my choice to go ladies first.
Okay, I'll make her a co-host. Okay. Tahiba, then sorry, you have to go earlier. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So Tahiba
you could go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so while you're making her a co-host, I'll introduce Tahiba. Tahiba is Mirza's sister, and she's the managing director at The Professional Gardener, a company that's been a part of our industry for many, many years. And she is going to share a few things about what the company is doing, and a couple of specific things. So I see your Zoom screen here, Tahiba.
Okay.
Yeah, but
is it still there?
Yeah, click again, join the meeting. What do you get?
Your screen sharing.
Yeah, so go to your presentation.
Okay.
Click that to get out of that. So there's an X at the top.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now share screen. Press the green button.
I don't know. Okay. All
Right
right.
at the bottom, there's a arrowhead share screen.
Yeah, I'm now on window. Window is not coming
Okay,
up.
but yeah, your share screen. Okay, stop sharing first. Do you see a sign stop sharing?
No, it just says choose what to share with app zone.
Okay, go to Windows, yeah, and your presentation.
Yeah, I'm clicking on that, but nothing is happening.
Okay,
Share.
okay,
Oh,
good. Something is happening.
Yeah, something is happening.
Picture
Good.
picture.
Okay.
So it's my first time doing that, so.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, so I'm going to go back and go to share screen.
No, go to stop share first.
Okay.
Do you see a red sign, stop share?
Okay. No, I don't. There's just a green screen. That's a chat one.
Do you see?
Then leave more.
Anywhere you see a sign, stop share?
They stop video, but not share.
Okay, I guess.
Okay. Why don't you host on your end, and I have my material with me.
Okay, you stop sharing then.
Yeah. Okay, I have. Okay.
Okay, I will make your presentation and you talk the audio. Okay.
Okay, sure. So should I start? I
Okay,
have my
just a
screen
second.
on.
Let me put it on. Just a second.
So there's a few more that have joined lately. We have to 14 participants now. So we talked briefly about greenhouse insurance. If you want to share in your in the chat box, which greenhouse insurance company you use, then that will be great for some of the people who are watching the YouTube video later on. We use BrokerLink. We used BrokerLink for many years, and they're a company out of Medicine Hat. And Ted Noble was our rep there. So I'm just kind of repeating some of that for the people who joined us later. Welcome everybody. We are waiting for the technical difficulties to solve themselves, where we can enjoy the presentation from Tahiba Mirza, who is the managing director at Professional Gardening.
Just working. Give me 1 minute. I have her presentation.
Okay. Now I don't feel so bad, because last year this happened to me where I couldn't log on. It took us 7 minutes. So I guess you're here. Oh, there we go, Mirza.
All right.
There we go.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
We can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay. See the presentation, Tahiba.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my presentation is about wetting agents, surfactant, and growth regulators. I have been with Professional Gardener Company for 42 years. I have degree in biological sciences, specialization in microbiology, and plant biochemistry. My first job was 42 years ago, and my last job is going to be with Professional Gardener too, so I don't know when. So the Professional Gardener have very extensive research department, which consists of soil testing lab, greenhouse, and 20 acres of land for field trials. We have unique products which are developed and marketed over the year, and the wetting agent and surfactant is one of them. I have a little story here to tell about that how that research came about. That when I started working for Professional Gardener Company, we make growing media called Ready Mix, and it was sitting in the warehouse for 6 months. And after that, we were running some trial, and it was bone dry, and we have put the wetting agent in it. We couldn't understand why was that happening. And that gave us some time to think about that, okay, what's going on? What happened to the wetting agent? And that's where we did lots of work on that. And we came up with a new wetting agent, which was much better for working for breaking the surface tension of the water. So now what is the role of wetting agent? In recent years, use of artificial mixes based on peat moss and coca has risen in industry. That has brought some challenges too. Poor water absorption is one of them. Either water does not absorb and start running, leaving pockets of dry materials. In case of coca fiber, there is not enough wetting capability in it, and the material on the top of the bag start drying, and the roots goes right at the bottom. These problems are due to hydrophobic nature of the peat moss or coca fiber. Peat has natural thin layer of wax on the surface of it, and the use of surfactant permits the wetting agent to let the water inside the fiber and then the pores in between. If peat dries past 30 to 40% by dry weight, the coating reforms, and unless wetting agent is present, it will be very difficult for it to get wet. Some of the commonly used wetting agents, they don't last very long, and I will explain the reason for that as we go along. There are a whole host of chemicals additive available to the horticulture industry. They are called surfactant and wetting agent and also adjuvants. Wetting agents, they are class of agents which breaks the surface tension of the water. Because of that surface tension, the water drop makes a drop. Otherwise, it cannot make a drop if the surface tension is not there. And the chemistry of surface surfactant or wetting agents is that there are three different kinds. Cationic with positive charge, they are phytotoxic to the roots. Ionic with negative charge, they are regular detergent like Dawn. They are also phytotoxic, but not as cationic ones. Their third kind, non-ionic with no charge, no phytotoxicity, safe for roots and shoots of the plants. The reason I brought this up was that when people come to our place, they want to buy wetting agent. And then they ask, why can't I use the soap from Costco? So then I explained to them, well, they are not non-ionic, so that's where there could be problem for you. So role in soil and soilless medium. It increases the wettability. That means it breaks the surface tension. Water can absorb inside the particle, and then it goes in between the particles and it stays there. It does not increase the retention of the water, but it makes the whatever growing media is equally wet. So the water could be available for a long period of time for the plant. And that can improve the quality of the plants. This increases water retention by uniformly wetting the growing media. This decreases water wastage by water runoff. And normally what happens when it dries out, then when you pour the water on the top, then on one side it starts running out and the other side of the plug is completely dry. It enhances the nutrient availability, but not by not allowing the solution to run off. So the fertilizer which is applied, that's also available for a long period of time. Now, the role of wetting agent in horticulture is not new. There are two kinds of wetting agents available in the market. One is the carbon base, such as AquaGrow and Primer, and the other one is silicone base, such as Penetrator from PG. We did lots of work on that in 1980s. And that's when we came about the one with the silicone base, because carbon base, the molecules are carbon molecules which are joined together as CCCC. And the microbes, they like carbon as a source of food. So when they start chewing up the chain of carbon for a long molecule, then its activity goes down. Then it's not as active as it should be. Therefore, bacteria can be eating up the wetting agent. Now, the second kind, which is silicon base, instead of carbon, carbon, carbon chain, it becomes silica, silica, silica chain, and microbes, they cannot eat that. That's why silica base, silicon base, wetting agent stays in the soil for longer period of time compared to the carbon. So that's why it gives more efficient results. Now, penetrator GH, which we have, it has got 0.5% nitrogen and 0.1% iron. And the reason for that is that it increases its shelf life. It's silicon base, it's longer lasting in soil and soilless medium, higher rewettability in peat and coca fiber. When I say rewettability, that means when peat dries beyond 30 to 40% of dry weight, the fiber cannot absorb the moisture again unless wetting agent is there. Silica wetting agents stick to the particles. And when the water is applied again, it makes it re-wet again without applying new dose of wetting agent. It's non-phytotoxic, non-toxic to the roots, non-toxic to the foliar parts. If somebody wants to feed foliarly, this is the best wetting agent somebody can use. It's compatible with all the plant nutrients. It's great for foliar application of nutrients. Now, there are different ways to apply wetting agent. It could be mixed up with the soil from start, and then after a while, couple of weeks and sometime a month, then you can equally provide the smaller dose continuously through the water. So the soil or the peat moss or the coca fiber doesn't dry out. The second part is that you can apply only once per month, and then it's good for a couple of months. And then that's the long-term solution. Most of the growers who send the plants to the garden centers, they try to use a wetting agent before sending the plants out. So as you know, when they go to the garden center, they are sitting there. Sometimes they don't have water and they dry out too much. So in that case, they don't dry too fast. And then when somebody applies the water again, then it's there for them to go ahead. And the rate of application is that soilless growing media, 2 to 3 ounces, which is 56 to 84 milliliter, in enough water to wet 1 cubic yard of peat moss or other substrate. For seedlings, 1.5 ounce to 28 to 42 milliliter per 100 liter of water or fertilizer solution, and apply continuously. For foliar feeding, 1 to 1.5 ounce, 28 to 42 milliliter per 100 liter of fertilizer solution, and can be sprayed or used with fogger. So the wetting agents have a very specific role to play in the crop, in growing the crop. Water is the most important part of the growing crop. And there is right now is the concern that how much water is being used and how much go to waste. And with this method, with applying some wetting agent continuously, then one can use less water, and then there would be less wastage of water and fertilizer solution. My presentation is up till here. Now I'm going to pass it to Dr. Mirza for growth regulators.
Yeah, okay, good. So my turn will come after Tracy. That's perfect. No, that's great. Any questions, Michael, in the chat at all?
Yeah, Tahiba, is the penetrators a liquid product?
It's a liquid, yes.
And you sell it separately, like you don't just add it to the to your soil that you make?
We, in our ready mix, yes, we do.
Yeah, but you can also buy it. We can also buy it from professional gardener and use it ourselves with in our own soil mix.
Yes, yeah. Okay. We sell it in the form of a liquid, 4 liter, 10 liters, and 1 liter.
Okay.
And you can, if you're mixing your own mixes, yes, you can apply that as that with it.
Interesting.
And
Yeah, we
I'll
use
just go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
yeah we use the other one, you know, Agrel, and
Yes.
the carbon base was very interesting that that the bacteria can eat that carbon chain. So that I didn't know. So silicone
Yeah.
based seems very good.
If you want to try a little experiment, take any carbon-based material or wetting agent, put that in a little glass of water, and
Yeah.
let it sit in the sun for a week or so. Or don't let it dry out, but put in the sun. It will start making slime. And that's the sign the bacteria are eating it.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So Mirza, thank you very much, Tahiba, for this presentation. So Mirza, are you going to do one on growth regulators after Tracy?
Yeah, please. That's the
Okay.
Tracy go. Yeah.
Okay. So Tracy Grill is the owner of a lighting company. And we've had the pleasure of listening to him before a couple of years ago. And being the dark months of the year, we think it's important that Tracy explains again the importance of lighting in a greenhouse crop. Tracy's from Calgary and is a proud supporter of our industry, always ready to sponsor something if we ask him to. So he's a very good friend of the industry. So Tracy, go ahead. If you have a presentation to share, I think this is the time.
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, Tracy, you could share. Yeah.
Okay. I will go ahead. So is everybody seeing a picture of lots of basil right now? Are you seeing basil right now?
No,
Not yet.
Let me try again.
So share screen and
Yeah,
good.
there we go.
Yeah.
Have you got it now? Okay.
Perfect.
That did it.
Perfect. Good,
Yes.
good.
Okay, I got it. I can see it now. So this is one of my favorite photos. It's a good, thanks for inviting me back, Michael and Dr. Mirza. And this is more of an interactive presentation. We're going to talk more today about spectrums. And Dr. Mirza is far more of an expert on growing and probably even grow lighting than I am. And when I joined AGGA in 2017, we joined with the attitude that we don't want to tell you guys what you need. We want to find out what you want and then find that for you. So we've always been able to customize spectrums to different clients and what they were looking for. And if a customer needs a few pieces of a grow light built for to do some growth testing, we will build it for them. And then if they want to tweak it, we have ways to tweak it. So there's a joke in the grow lighting industry. If you want something to double in price, call it a grow light. And it is so true. There's a huge disparity in pricing out there. So let's see if I can get this thing to go to the next slide. So eco lighting, we do a lot of smaller custom greenhouses. We've supplied vertical farms. The cannabis industry has all but disappeared and never really materialized, and it's shrinking as fast as it grew. Back in 2017, 2018, there's still a few cannabis growers out there, but everybody's figured out that it's easier to go buy it now than it is to grow your own. So as much as everybody thought that cannabis was going to be a gold mine, it was for a little while. It never was for us. And I remember Albert from the Greenhouse Growers Association says, we're not focusing on cannabis because the grow lighting market or the vegetable market is a minimum of 10 times the size of the cannabis market. And that is so true. There's so many more opportunities in growing, and there's so many more opportunities with new plants and growing new crops in Alberta that greenhouses made it possible to do. So I find this a fascinating industry. So apart from doing custom supply, one of the things we do is we supply a high quality home-based grow lighting product so people can buy off the shelf in your local garden center. So if you know of anybody that wants Growtronics lighting in their garden center, give me a call afterwards. I'm not going to talk much more about that today. So Michael, you mentioned this. Right now, between now and, basically November till today, the day is so short that we're not seeing a lot of the blue light in the spectrum, and that's what's getting filtered out by the atmosphere. And so what you get when you don't have enough blue in the light is plant stretch. Plant stretch is a huge problem, and Dr. Mirza is going to talk about growth regulators. LED blue light LEDs are one of the grow regulators you can potentially use. So I'm not going to talk about too much other things like that, other than if you own a retail garden center and your plants are late coming from the lower mainland, look at what the weather's been. So oftentimes their plants are 3-4 weeks late. With grow lighting, you could speed that up. You could accelerate those plants. You can't really slow them down other than back off the amount of light, but you can definitely speed them up to get them shipped on time if that's a requirement. So LED grow lighting, any kind of grow lighting, this is more a general talk on grow lighting than it is LED grow lighting. The biggest advantage LEDs has is spectrum control. If you need a high blue, you can build a high blue fairly easily. If you need a high red, you can build a high red. If you need infrared in the light, you can do that. If you need UV in the light, we can do that for you. It's typically, for grow purposes, half the energy of high pressure sodium or metal halide, half the energy of fluorescent. I know not many people are using fluorescent in the greenhouse, but there's quite a few people still sprouting plants with fluorescent. And in general, for every 10% you add in energy to the plants, you get a 10 to 15% bump in production. So that's one of the things that was known early on. And also, there's a massive disparity in pricing, options, and control methods. There's anything from plug it in and turn it on, all the way up to these high-end solutions where they have red, blue, and green control, or red and blue control, and they tune it for the plants. I have a lot of customers ask me, why can't I tune your lights? And most of the customers that are asking me that are hobbyists. And I say, because what typically happens in the hobby industry is you buy this controllable spectrum light, you either mess it up because you have the wrong spectrums, or you don't understand what you need, so the plant's getting all blue and it's short and fat, or all red and it's tall and skinny. And after 2 or 3 weeks, they get tired of trying to play with it, and they turn it on full blast, and it spends the rest of its life on high with all of the spectrums on. So that's one of the reasons why we don't play in the controllable spectrum. Not that we couldn't, but most of our customers don't require it, and they don't want to mess with it. Other uses, photoperiod control for several different types of plants. You just need enough light to keep them from flowering until you can grow. And I don't know the varieties because I'm not a horticulturalist. And of course, stretch control in winter months. So this is Paradise Hill Farms in Nanton. They were our first and longest running greenhouse that's running our lights. Tony has a few HPS lights in that ceiling. You can see them there. They're 315 watt HPS fixtures. And then around that, he's arranged 10,000 watts of LED in 2,000 square feet of basil. When Tony started with the LED, he was producing about 60,000 plants a year. He was shutting down sometime in November and not starting up in February. And the challenge for Tony was the highest demand for basil was when he couldn't produce it. So now he's running year round. Prior to us in November, his cycle time for a basil that you could pluck and put in a clamshell and send off to co-op was approximately 42 days. And now with photoperiod control on the crop, he's running 28-day cycle times in the summer and 32 in the winter. So instead of 60,000 plants a year, he's producing approximately 120,000 off this same 2,000 square foot setup. So it's been quite a successful time. I'll talk a little bit later about the spectrum he's running. So we've often seen this. People say, what is full spectrum? Well, in truth, what you see in front of you, that's full spectrum. I have not seen a grow light on the market yet that didn't say they were full spectrum, even though some of them were simply red and blue. They didn't have any other colors in them. They just call them full spectrum, so be aware of that. There's full spectrum and then there's true full spectrum. But the beauty of LED is I can tune it. So this is one of the custom spectrums we built for a lettuce grower. It is a combination of red and blue and 6400K white LED chips. And they played around with several different spectrums. They settled on this one. And Dr. Mirza asked me to put some percentages in here, so I thought I'd throw in a couple of percentages. In terms of energy, it's 24% red, 68% green, and 6.7% blue. Now, if I get the green any lower than what that is, the lights become very hard to work under. And I know, Michael, you have some Philips balance, they call it a balanced spectrum in your greenhouse. And it's a combination of red and blue chips, I believe. And when I was personally in there, I had to wear sunglasses while I was in that greenhouse. So the challenge with some of these spectrums is you either can't be in there when the lights are on, or you have to wear special glasses to protect your eyes. So this is kind of a leafy green tuned spectrum. This is one of the spectrums that we can supply to anyone. We stock this one on the shelf for retail growers for veggie starting bedding plants to put them outside. It's a 6400K chip with some enhanced red chips added to it. And it turns out it's 15% red, 80% green, and 4% blue. This is typically what we would sell to a client that wants to grow bedding plants, early stage microgreens. Not that you need the red for microgreens, but this will outperform a straight 6400K spectrum, especially for hobby growers, because a straight 6400K spectrum will start off great, and then at some point the plants slow down because there isn't enough red to continue the growth. And I'll tell you a little story. When I was testing grow lighting, I had a Chinese supplier tell me, this is a grow light. He sends it to me. I get it. I plugged it in, and the light was physically blue. It had 2 red chips in the whole thing, and it had a couple of white chips, but the light was physically blue. And I grew a perfect tomato plant, 8 inches in diameter and 2 inches tall. So kind of moving towards a little further along the red spectrum, many of you have probably heard the term combo spectrum in grow lighting. Combo in its original form was a 6400K chip plus a 2700K chip, which gave you a 4000K spectrum. And the light appears slightly yellow generally. It can appear slightly pink, but it's a blend. And this spectrum over and above a 6400K spectrum will outgrow a 6400K spectrum on leafy greens. We took it one step further and enhanced it a little bit more because I've been doing some research on basil, and Tony helped us with that. I read that basil growing under lights with infrared in them, or far red, 730 nanometers, had approximately 25% higher leaf size and yield. So this is our, what I call an enhanced combo flowering spectrum. There's a couple of vertical gardeners using this, and it's good for most plants, but there is a couple of varieties of lettuce, and I can't tell you which ones they are, will want to try to bolt because of the red or the infrared in it. Dr. Mirza might know, but you see there's a little higher red, a little lower green, and a fairly low blue content. And if we move into a true or more of a true cannabis spectrum or tomatoes, more red, more far red, less blue. Unfortunately, I don't have the energy levels here, Dr. Mirza, but this is typically what most of the cannabis guys are using. I have lots of folks come say, I got these pink and purple lights in my cannabis tent and my plants aren't healthy. And basically I said, well, don't throw that out. why don't we add some 6400K white to it? Add some white, gives you all the other colors in the spectrum that you need. And they have a lot better luck with it. They have a lot stronger plants. This is a group called Green Igloo. They're a nonprofit. They are building greenhouses in remote communities for mostly Indigenous, underprivileged communities, and they're teaching them how to grow their own food. We have them in New Brunswick, in Quebec. There's one in Red Deer, in the food bank in Red Deer. And the furthest one north is north of the Arctic Circle, and it's at Kingate, Nunavut, and I'm not even sure if it's running yet. We shipped the lighting with the greenhouse package, and they finished assembly in about September last year. So I don't even know if that's running yet, but they are now growing food north of the Arctic Circle using natural and artificial light. And if they're not now, there will be very, very shortly. There's also one at Siksika Nation east of Calgary. It's actually on their school grounds. So they're teaching the kids how to grow, and it's part of their curriculum now. So we're really proud of that. It's been a great opportunity for them and Eco Lighting. If you ever want a nonprofit to support, this is an excellent nonprofit group. They pick about 10 to 12 projects a year, depending on how many sponsors they have. And they pick them based on need and willingness to learn. So these Indigenous communities are learning how to grow their own food all over again. From what I understand from some of the Indigenous communities, they lost that ability years and years and years ago, like hundreds of years ago. So I don't know if I have that much more to say. Thank you, Dr. Mirza, for this referral. This is another client of ours that's building small grow units to go back in the back of restaurants and things like that, so they can have fresh produce for their clients. This group we've been working with for about 4 years, and we built them a spectrum, they test it. We build them another spectrum, they test it. We build them a third spectrum, and they tested it, and they finally settled on what they want. And you see there's a slight pink hue to that light. The purple hue off to the left, that's just a purple light that's nearby, but there's a slight pink hue to this spectrum. But you can still tell the plants are healthy. You can still tell if there's pests on the plants. I mentioned Paradise Hill Farms, and I really don't have anything else to say unless you have some questions.
I do, Tracy. So in your shop, you can put diodes together in whatever mix the customer wants. You don't buy the lights pre-made?
Oh, no, I don't manufacture the lights. I don't have the
Okay.
skills to put them together and build the boards, because LED lighting, the driver has to be matched to the board. So if it has 24 LEDs on it of a certain spec, it has to have a very specific driver. I don't have the capability to do that. I simply pay a engineering fee, so to speak, and the company that builds the bulk of our grow lights will build me that spectrum. And then I
Okay.
send it out to you for testing. And if you like it, you want a little more blue or a little more red, we can tweak it and build another one and send it back to you. So there's a little bit of an engineering fee each time, but that's the nice thing about being customizable.
Yeah. So you're saying, did I hear you say that certain diodes require different energy use, like the certain colors are are more energy efficient than others, or did I mishear that?
It's the energy in the light. So blue is a short wavelength light. It gets filtered out by the atmosphere this time of year. So it doesn't actually reach the plants in the same capacity that a red or a far red would reach the plant, i.e. when you feel heat, that's infrared and far red from the sun. So the short wavelength lights tend to get filtered out by the atmosphere in the short winter months, because the angle of the Earth means the light has to travel further through the atmosphere, and more of it gets filtered out. So if you kind of pay attention to the light in the spring, it's very, very bright white, bright blue. But in the fall, you notice as the days start to get shorter, you notice that it feels like there's more red in the light. So there's a natural rhythm to that cycle.
I had a couple questions or a couple comments in the notes. We do have a phosphor coated bulb in our mix, in our spectrum, just so that it's a little easier on the eyes. But you're right that LED lights are quite hard on the eyes, and everything under LED looks perfect. Everything looks so nice and green. So you think you're an excellent grower until you come back the next day and you go like, oh, there's some yellow here, some yellow there. So try not to do any diagnostics on nutrient deficiencies when you're in LED lights in a greenhouse.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember being in your greenhouse, Michael, and there's a little bit of white in that, but the spectrum I showed you, I'm going to back up here, see if I can back up a bit.
You'll have to reshare.
Oh, don't worry about it then. I won't bother. I won't hold you up. There's more compared to the spectrum you're talking about, which is just a touch of white light. This is still 60% green in the green spectrum, which makes everything appear white. So you still get a really high red blue where you need it, but you get a good color that's not too hard on the eyes. And like anything else, if I'm selling lights to a houseplant store, I'm going to sell them 6,500K with maybe a touch of red. But if I'm selling plants or somebody that wants to grow tomatoes, it's going to have a lot more red in it. There's going to be a different tinge to that light. So a good white grow light could appear anything from blue white to a little bit of red. And I noticed you had a question. Why does Tony still have some high pressure sodium?
Yeah.
Well, one, I think he's trying to wear them out, but also there is one advantage to high pressure sodium, which is why the cannabis growers used it for many, many years. It warms the leaves, opens the stomata, they breathe better, and they grow better because they're taking in more carbon dioxide and putting out more oxygen. Now, the infrared in the LED to some degree does the same thing, but not to the same degree. But the infrared in the LED has also a lot of, helps control a lot of biological processes, like getting the plants to wake up, getting the plants to go to sleep. If you want to run cannabis on a 13.5, 10.5 hour cycle, you turn on straight infrared for 20 minutes without the white, then you shut it off. It puts the plant to sleep very, very quickly. Because it's the infrared and the light that tells the plants to start going to sleep.
Let's see. Interesting. If there's any other questions for Tracy, can you type your email address and your phone number in the chat?
Right now.
I know your last slide had your phone number on it as well, but I wouldn't mind if you typed it. Then somebody can take it from there as well. And while you're doing that, there was also a question for Tahiba. Tahiba, somebody is asking if they can add the wetting agent to their bale of in their case pro mix, so in their bale of growing mix.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. If normally they pro mix put wetting agent in their mixes, but if for some reason they need some more, yes, they can put that in very safely.
And how would you apply it? You wouldn't put the concentrate in. How would you put that in?
You will make a solution, 2 to 3 ounces per 100 liter of water, or whatever water is needed to wet the soil, whatever needed to be wetted, but it's extremely safe. If you put 5 ounces too, it wouldn't burn it, but it will last a little longer. But making it more practical and efficient, we have found that 2 to 3 ounces, you put in enough water to wet 1 cubic foot of the soil. So that's calculated.
Okay. So 3 to 5 ounces in 100 liters of water.
No, enough water.
Is that what you said?
No, 3 to 5 ounces into enough water to wet 1 cubic feet.
1 cubic per cubic foot of soil.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So 3 to 5 ounces per cubic foot of soil. So a bale of Pro Mix or any other mix probably fluffs up to 7 cubic feet. So you'd have to do the math at home,
That's
to know how much water and wetting agent you'd want to add.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, good. Well, thank you again, Tracy, for your presentation, and Tahiba. It was very helpful. Mirza, if you're here,
Okay.
do you want to
Excuse
do?
me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go
It's
ahead,
not
Tahiba.
cubic feet, it's cubic yard.
Oh, cubic yard.
Cubic
Okay.
yard.
So a cubic yard is 27 cubic feet. So say 30 cubic feet for ease sake. So it's 3 to 5
it's a
ounces
cubic yard.
in 30 cubic feet. Okay.
That's right.
Okay, good.
All right. Yes. So Michael, can I? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
we could see Sophia. Mirza, yes.
Oh, it is fun nowadays. She's turned 9 months now, and her skills, she loved to talk, she loved to learn. Reminds me, our seedling getting ready for future. Yeah, see, she's synthesizing small words, not yet understandable, but yeah, even now here she has a small belt in her hand and trying to talk it. So hopefully she will take my place when I'm gone. Yes. But to welcome everybody. A few slides on growth regulators because some questions were coming up, and Taiba and I talked about it. So I inserted some basic point that, and then I will go into some biofilms as well. Just one couple of addition to last talk, we were talking about water quantities. I gave a figure of 7 liters per square meter per day. That is for summer. Right now, it is about, if your seedlings are there, about 2 liters per square meter. About, again, depending on the plant's regular long English cucumber is about 2.5 cucumbers per square meter. So you could figure out per plant. But right now, 2. And as you get slowly into summer, spring period, you will gradually increase your 7 liter per square meter is the peak of the season when it is a very high light condition. This will meet the transpiration demand of the plant, plus the fact that it will some leaching requirement. Sorry, my camera is giving me trouble, so you will only hear. I prepared especially today myself to show my face, but you can't do that. Okay, so plant growth regulators are most effective when applied at the appropriate times to regulate plant growth or development. Growth retardants cannot shrink an overgrown plants. They must be applied before the plant is overgrown to prevent plant stretch. And the way you determine is your sunlight, your observation on the plant, your temperature inside. When planning a PGR in your production schedule, consider what you want to accomplish with the treatment. One example, if you see that your tomato seedlings have gone that far, so basically too late to apply any growth regulator on them. This happened in the germination room. You have to be very vigilant that if it happens at nighttime and you are only coming in the morning to take them out, they will stretch within 1 to 2 hours if after germination they are not moved out and the temperature is your 24, 25 degrees Celsius. And if there's no light either, they will stretch. They were not removed in time, and when transplanted, they can be buried into the growing media. And that's a practice which growers do, that some will twist the stem and put it in the growing media. This other grower, I'll show this slide. He germinated where my cursor is in a small cube. So it was elongated, just 2 cotyledonary leaves, and true leaves were just emerging. So he talked to me. So we decided to put a soilless growing media at the top here. So buried quite a bit of stem. And this is how it looked like. So plant looked pretty good after. So what happened is that the stem which is buried should not dried out, and they produce roots. Tomatoes are well known to produce adventitious root, we call them. So a very strong, compact plant can be made. But remember, very fleshy stem when they stretch, and they could always have a problem with the damping off and other fungi. Using temperature as a growth regulator, actually what I see is that more and more growers practice it. There was a time when we were really using all sort of growth regulator, but now more temperature management. And always remember that we have average day temperature, we have average night temperature, 24-hour average temperature, and diff. And the difference in day and night temperature, what makes the plant stretch, internodal strength. So managing temperature as a growth regulator is a wide practice. Bedding plant growers still use cold frames, but always remember your plants go into the cold frame for holding. If you just transplant them and put them in the cold frame, then their rooting is affected strongly. So make sure and then not all plants go there, your petunias and pensy. I have a very nice publication on bedding plants, has 76 pages. So I'll show you a picture, just drop me an email. I could send you a copy. Cold water as a growth regulator, although I always emphasize to use warm temperature, but some people use say 12, 14 degree. What happens is plant is established and they exposed to get cold water. So it takes 8 hours for the growing media to jump from 8 degree to 12 degree. So in this way, they're just holding on. And then cold frames, of course, people use it as well. The using temperature, 24, okay. Yeah, many people grow them on the floor, and that's where cold temperature. Generally, they will be slightly limey green type when they get cold temperature on 12 degrees centigrade. How to use diff as a growth regulator? I have given an example here. 24 degrees centigrade day and 20 degrees centigrade night is a positive diff. So diff will vary on if you're right now, we are still, our nights are longer, but March 23rd is the one with 12 hours and 12 hours. So be conscious of the fact that if your day is longer, your computer normally will give you, otherwise you have to calculate 20 degree day, 20 degree night is zero diff, if the temperature is for the same amount of time. 20 degrees centigrade day and 24 night is a negative diff. And so most of the plant respond to this diff treatment. Positive diff will elongated internodes, zero diff, compact plant, and negative diff will be plants very, very compact, where we might suspect it looks like a rosetting. So we don't use a negative diff that strongly. It still is within limits within limits. So if, for example, temperature is going, say, 27, 28 degrees centigrade, then you are out of the diff range. Diff is applied within the accepted cultural practices. So night temperature higher than day, we never do that, will cause problem. More respiration, plant could stretch with that if the nights are very high. So growth will drop so what you could do is, if night temperature is difficult to achieve at a cooler one, so what we do is the first 2 hours of sunrise, plants are most susceptible to stretching. So to bring the temperature about 2 degrees centigrade cooler. So wherever possible, this practice is very, very useful. Example of cucumber tomato respond, look at this one. This has been on a positive diff. Stem length roughly should be 4 to 6 inches internode. This is about almost 8, 10 inches. So this means that nights are reasonably more colder than the day. So the the differential is more than 5 degrees centigrade between day and night. Next one is the tomato picture. So you could see a thick stem. This is a nice stretch. But notice here, plant is reacting to local condition. The difference between this leaf and this leaf is smaller, but then elongated here. So this reflects your exactly what your computer will show. You could read the plant and say what are at the end of the crop, you could see all the data that week number so and so. I stretched week number, so compacted. Tomato produced 3 set of leaves and then 1 cluster. So this is also very important to understand. Psychocellular damage on geraniums, we are pretty familiar with that. They come out of it. This is a summary slide that what the typical available growth regulators are A-rest, which could be used spray as a drench. Activity is low to moderate, and there's a re-entry period of about 12 hours on that. B9, spray only, it doesn't work as a drench. Low activity, a 24-hour REI. Bonsai, spray and drench, very high activity, only used at a very low level, 1 to 3 part per million, and about 12 REI in that. Many times I've seen plugs coming from different suppliers. Once in a while I see petunias treated with the higher bonsai because they're coming from South America. So they stay there. They don't do anything for at least 3 weeks. So if that happens, just alert me and we will tell you what technique to use to get them out of that so-called dormancy. Psychocell, you're pretty familiar, spray and lobe, and Sue Magic spray drench, and it has got a high activity. Rates, label rates sometimes become difficult to read because they give you cover area. So activity level very high, B9, generally 5,000 ppm is 0.50%. So that gives you a formula as well. 1% is 1,000 part per million. Psychocell is about 1,500. High activity, you go to 2,500 ppm. Psychocell 1,250, medium 1,250, 1,250, low is 800. So you have to decide, but plan early so that you know how the weather is going to be, very sunny weather, and use accordingly. This is a very nice publication, Quality Bedding Plants. We have been using the workshop. A lot of good information on growth regulators, major diseases, major insect pests, nutrition program. So please ask me a copy and I'll send you. As an example, I've taken from a page. It will list all the plants which you could use of Psychocell and B9. Going into the problems, during the past 2 weeks, I got this email. Hello. Oh, you could recognize, I didn't delete it. Robert Spencer sent me there. Over the past few terms, I have noticed that we have had a bit of weird growth pattern in our tomatoes, TOV, cherries, etc. In some cases, it is a bit of twisted growth in the leaves. In others, the leaves are a bit stretched or strap-like. I know that I'm not hitting every nutrient target as I don't have access to every product, but I'm curious if this is a nutrient issue that I can fix or what. I would appreciate your right away. These were the picture, you know. When I looked at the twisting and turning and thick stems, it's not a herbicide, it's a cold temperature. So I wrote him back that this is a cold temperature, particularly at nighttime. I guess your night temperature is going below 18 degrees centigrade, staying around 16. At this stage, 20 degrees centigrade night and 22 to 20 day is desirable. Thanks. And so watch for your temperature. Too cold a temperature, many growers attempt to hold it, and too cold a temperature, tomatoes will turn purple. They will tolerate some purple They will come out of it later on. But too cold, 10 degree, 12 degree, which you use for petunias and pansies and other plants, will set up your first flower cluster. When you set fruit, it will show big cat facing. So the fruit will look like a very rough fruit. A good time to get your pH and EC meter checked up. Your calibration solution, if I run out, then make sure that you have a supply. A TerraLink, Professional Gardener, they always have good buffers available. So always have half a liter supply. When you buy these meters, they only give you a small pouch, which is good for 2 to 3 time calibration. And good quality meters last, the electrode lasts for about a year, but make sure you calibrate them properly. Leaf edge burn on
Mirza,
Yeah.
Mirza,
Yeah.
Can you repeat that? The about the meter?
Yeah. So the good time to
It's-
calibrate pH and EC. This is a combined meter. So
Yeah.
the calibration standard reference buffers are available, both from Professional Gardener and TerraLink. And so calibration is important. So normally when you buy them, they send only a couple of pouches of buffers, pH 7 buffer, pH 4 buffer, and EC solution at about EC of 2. EC buffer, EC solution reference, you could easily make 1 gram of table salt at 1 liter of water will have an EC of 2 millimoles. So you want to, if you could weigh small quantities, otherwise bring them and they calibrate.
So Mirza, you say something about a year, but that's the probe that on the
Yeah,
pH
exactly.
probe.
Yeah, generally check if you're constantly, you know that there's always a cap on the end of these electrodes, and make sure always there's some buffer or water there. Otherwise, they dry out, and potassium chloride inside will dry out, and you will get a very erratic reading. It is very, very important because you make major decision. We will be talking in our next couple of chats. pH is the most important part of your management. If not proper, then if pH is not proper, so learn about the plants as well, showing iron deficiency, and we will discuss this in next couple of meetings as well. So pH correction, it takes longer time to correct it as well. So make sure that pH is proper, the meter is properly calibrated. During our work, sorry, Michael, any other question?
Yeah, no. I just want to make sure people knew that the meter will last longer, but the pH probe in particular, the EC probe has a lot longer life, but the pH probe has about a lifespan of a year and a half. So
this is a combined one. Yeah, pH.
Yeah, that's a combined one.
Same exactly.
And that's a Hanna meter, you know, Hanna brand.
That's a Hanna.
Which is a very good brand.
I know people go to some on Amazon. They're cheaper, pen type. They may be good, but I find these far more reliable to use. During our workshop, Michael took me around and we looked around. Basically, unrooted cuttings, there's a very critical phase when the no roots are there. There's a good transpiration stress on the plant. So that's where you support it with the misting and something on the edges. So that simply is a high transpiration stress. Roots are just starting, and very dry air humidity would cause these kind of problems. And while we were at the workshop, there were very nice pastries. Michael, who brought them in? Was it?
That was there's a gentleman by Barhead. Him and his wife run the Hertz Garden Center, and their daughter, who is a Skills Canada winner, couple of years Skills Canada winner in the bakery department, and she started a bakery inside their greenhouse. And they were the ones that brought these delicious pastries, and they also have a coffee shop there, so they really made it a whole happening there at their greenhouse.
And that's what
Germany,
reminds me that ag tourism is quite important in rural area. Michael, do you remember when we went to High Prairie? We
yeah,
visited a few places where ag tourism, and now we'll be working with the Department of Agriculture to prepare some protocols on ag tourism, because ag tourism always butt head with the county rules and regulation, parking rules, all those sort of things. So we will be working on that direction as well. And you missed the workshop. It was very good. Attendance was a little low. Maybe we were 1 week early. Michael always does a good job. Then after that, we had a good auction, and the professional garden donated some material. And we raised some money for scholarship fund, my scholarship fund. A short video of AGGA Greenhouse I'd like to show you here. Very notice those fans, I liked it. So it reduces the condensation. Okay, that was a great learning experience on routing the cuttings. I tell you, it's not an easy job. Okay, going to the biofilms. Biological in nature contains living microorganism, reproduce and proliferate itself and have a protective mechanism. Is getting a big issue because of the water quality and through the piping system. And if they are not regularly cleaned every year, I'll show you some pictures of what could happen. Establish, or even after you have cleaned them up, within 5 seconds, those bacteria left somewhere, they could re-establish themselves. If there's a one bacterium, it starts secreting some material which attracts any other floating around and start establishing a colony. And then they start taking up the nutrient and could cause big problem. Difficult for removal and must be a continuous process on biofilms. The adverse impact of biofilm is clogged pipes, hoses, emitters, drippers, spaghetti tubings, pumps, filters, and valves. Wherever water is, these biofilms will be there. They could harbor or host soil-borne or water-borne plant pathogens like Pythium, like Rhizoctonia, Physaelium, Phytophthora, viruses, and cause plant diseases. The other day, I got a phone call from a panic from a grower who detected tomato fruits Rogos virus in their growing media, and very, very worried. And these biofilms could be the biggest culprit. It will cause uneven watering, dry slabs or pod, flagging heads or wilted plants. Low oxygen also because of depletion of biofilms. AG in a lattice system, iron and sulfur bacteria causes advanced pipe corrosion. Foodborne human pathogen, e.g. E. coli, could also live in there. So the lines and drippers, biofilms are a little different than what is a chemical reaction. Sometime if on the head of the dripper you see some white deposits, they are not biofilms. the white stuff is seen and drip lines are drippled, and they're due to calcium phosphate or carbonate deposits. And that's pH of the solution over 6.4 will cause precipitation. Sometimes growers use the irrigation system for high pH and then don't flush those lines before sending fertilizer, so they could be formed. So biofilms are little more problematic. So here is an example that right here seedlings are grown, tomato seedling, and right away the rock pool loaded with algae here, and a lot of water is given and already a biofilm. The moment this algae dry, this is a complex biofilm on surfaces. Is not only algae there, there are saprophytic bacteria there, there are fungi there, there's a slime there, they choke oxygen, and then good habitat for fungus gnats. Another example, right on the floor, dripping from roof, hand watering. Note the date of this picture, December. I took this picture in December, so it could happen anywhere where there's a water stagnation. The picture was taken on December 3rd. This means the plants have not been started yet. Dripping from roof and floor temperature, 12.5 degrees Celsius, algae could start. This is because on the floor, you see the stones there, pebbles are there. So they provide a more surface area and very difficult to kill this algae later on. So you have to start, look at this pump here. You know, the rusting started as a biofilm. Iron bacteria started growing both inside and outside the pump. It was only noticed when pump failed. So, you know, many times you don't pay attention and they will fail at the wrong time when you need them maximum, you know, when watering is going and boom, suddenly they will quit. Luckily, it was a floating latex system and there was enough water in the system so that grower got a chance to fix them. Rusting on this pipe, these are not exactly biofilms. Those are, of course, iron, but started with water, and some iron bacteria could easily be there. Michael, that's not your greenhouse. Right nowadays, the biofilm, this is an example of a good one. And on the other side, oops. Yeah, you could compare it, you know, that right away, that's a clean start, but pretty quickly water puddles because your leach is not carried properly in those channels here. So that's where biofilms start. If you walk there, then the fungus gnats will be there in a large concentration. Biofilms, I took this picture just show you. Biofilms are good as well. This is a fish pond, and biofilms are required to feed the fish. So if you have don't try to treat your pond. The fish pond was established over 20 years ago to attract children in a bedding plant greenhouse and garden center. And so fish waste will be there as well. So they don't use this water for irrigation. Yeah, it could start. This is the hydroponic basil in a floating system. You clean those styrofoam, you bleach it, you hydroperoxide it, but very, very difficult to clean. And that's where the fungus gnats come in. It could start very early. Some weeds are around right in a puddle here. That's where the biofilm will start. Same thing here, right here. The cucumber pepper greenhouse. We were experimenting at that time with Cuban oregano as an attractant for thrips and whiteflies. So it worked pretty good, but then our jobs are finished, so we abandoned it. So Cuban oregano is a good smelling plant and will attract thrips and whiteflies. So it could be on the floor as well. Biofilms could develop. This is a picture from 2014, and we got more recent one as well. Right on the surface, organic matter and these saprophytic fungi, they will form a biofilm and very difficult to break them down. Plastic would also be there, on these drip lines right here, your biofilms could develop. And this is somewhere old plastic, some condensation, then algae will grow and the biofilm form there. Somehow, some are good because this was on the south side and the light was filtered out without causing major problem. But then you just have to watch that it doesn't spread. This was a good example. I want to share how biofilms form. This was an example where a grower phoned me that this was a very interesting examination on example for rutabagas. So the growers dug it and washed it with cold water, 5 degrees centigrade, pH of water over 8, bleach is used to wash them, ineffective low pH, thin film settled on the surface. Because after washing, they were quickly dried. The grower thought that, oh, I could quickly dry them and they'll be in storage. But when I examined them closely with the hand lens, there was a thin film formed on that. And then these biofilms started, and then the bacteria started on those ones. So we have to improve our washing practices if you're in that business. And this cat was very happy close to the biofilms. So cats are not the reason for the biofilms, remember that. Oxygen, very important in biofilms. Oxygen less than 1 part per million, right where my cursor is. It was such a heavy, thick biofilm that the roots just didn't emerge at all. At about 3 ppm, roots emerged. So oxygen depletion is pretty important when biofilms are there. This was the example of a lattice greenhouse. All these symptoms are due to biofilm and algae development in water. These new methods are pretty good, that these are the flood benches. So timing is controlled, so there's no free water. So they are watered every hour or something, so they dry out. So there's this one method of controlling your bedding plants. So here are the pipe and tubes, and water is discharged right here. Yeah, very clean. Just when you start your plants in flood benches, and then all the water is in black tanks underneath, so algae, biofilm will not develop in there. But the moment you start later on some growing media, that's where the biofilms start developing. So you have to clean them regularly. Drippers, the high volume drippers, less blockage occur because you're washing them daily. So good drippers are, who doesn't know about plug lines and emitters? End of season cleanup is important. Use nitric acid at a pH 2 to 3, 24 to 48 hours. This is a little more dangerous in the sense that you could only do end of the season. So we do use hydrogen peroxide, sanidate, and other materials as well. This is quite interesting, right where the pipings are and the filters are. So biofilm could easily spread wherever your plants are. So make sure that this is not your greenhouse. Yeah, so right here where the injector is, Anderson injector, leaking occur, and that's where algae, fungus gnats, and biofilms have been formed. And if you look at the piping, they could, sorry, this is the rock wool and dripper. And yeah, so there's a section of a pipe here I want to show you. Yeah, this is the one I want to show you right here. So if your pipes are like this, then big trouble with diseases. In such cases, hydrogen peroxide will not work because it will be absorbed by the surface organic matter bacteria. It would not dislodge them. So some wrong, don't let them go to that level that you have to take those actions. Okay, so proper filtration, no overheat and avoid high temperatures, maintain correct levels of pH, dissolve oxygen, always flushing line before drop the temperature in when you're clean up, flushing with high velocity so that there's no water left there. Continue. Are you able still to see it?
Yeah.
Michael?
Yeah. No, we're good.
Michael, are you there?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
It's
here.
so
Yes,
quiet that I think that
we could
continue.
see.
Ozone is pretty effective. Chlorine dioxide injection, mixed oxidative solution, shock treatment with some forms of acid, UV, chlorine don't work well for removal. Hydrogen peroxide, copper ion, and line flushing have their own limits. So efficacy of hydrogen peroxide, last time we discussed as well. So basically, you got to understand the principle. Hydrogen peroxide get inactivated the moment it comes in touch with the biofilm, with algae spore, with organic matter. So we must maintain, if you're able to maintain 5 ppm at the drip line, then
Are you still there, Mirza? Hello? Well, I think we lost him now. But the screen is still up. Oh, Mirza.
also help with that. And concluding,
Mirza, you're fading a little bit here, so once in a while. We're having some technical difficulties here with Mirza.
Our Wi-Fi is mine.
Oh. Is it me or is it Dr. Mirza who is
It's our.
playing? Is it? Is it our Wi-Fi?
Yeah. It should be back.
Are you back, Mirza? Am I back? Oh, you're muted, Mirza.
it's automatic. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
you
So-
unmuted yourself.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was trying to, last few slides were use of different products, hydrogen peroxide. I was emphasizing that hydrogen peroxide get inactivated the moment it touches the biofilms. So at the drip line, if you could detect 5 ppm with the testing strips, then that will be your best option. But individually, if you, we could help the growers if you did not probably the recording was stopped as well when the internet connection was low.
Okay.
So any
Uh,
question?
uh,
Heather?
Yeah. So Mirza, hydrogen peroxide, is an effective way to clean up a biofilm. And would you say it would be best to use it on a continuous basis, so that you don't get a buildup of biofilm, or just use
Exactly.
a
So
one
if
once?
off season, you could clean up your line with some stronger solution. pH is one option, but you have to be very careful. Handling acid. Second one is that use 1 to 2% hydrogen peroxide for end of season cleaning. It will really clean up your pipe, and then it could plug your dripper. So just you have to watch it. So do it constant basis when you are using drippers,
Yeah.
water, end of season, good thorough cleaning, and then maintain, as I mentioned, you could inject 100 parts per million in your water, but based on what is in your lines, at the dripper, if you could get a residue of 5 ppm, that is then you know that everything has been taken care of or cleaned up.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Does this make sense to everybody? Hydrogen peroxide is a very effective way, and it's very environmentally friendly because it breaks down in water and
Exactly.
oxygen. So
Exactly.
it's not like bleach or anything else that ends up causing a buildup, or root damage. So hydrogen peroxide is readily available from all our suppliers, but also Sanidate. Sanidate is a hydrogen peroxide based product as well. It's a lot stronger than just hydrogen peroxide, and it works well. So Zerotol, surely, if I add Zerotol in each tank, will it give me the same effect as HP?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. With zero-tol is 27% hydrogen peroxide, and it has got a 5% peroxyacetic acid. So absolutely, it will
Yeah.
be similarly effective. Yes.
So Zerotol is the brand name, but it actually is hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, absolutely. Hydrogen
Yes.
peroxide and peroxyacetic acid.
Yeah, well, yeah. So they add a few things to it,
absolutely.
so to stabilize it. But basically, the main ingredient in Zerotol is hydrogen peroxide.
Exactly.
And
absolutely.
in Sanidate 5, that's the same thing. Main ingredient is hydrogen peroxide.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Mirza. I think biofilm is something we need to all address on a continuous basis. Yes, you can add Zerotol to each of the fertilizer tanks. Mirza, would you see any negative effect between a salt-based fertilizer and hydrogen peroxide? Would any of it would
We
peroxide
don't
attack?
like to add with the stock tanks.
Right.
It does oxidizes in a stock tank. It will oxidizes iron and manganese. But we can add with the calcium nitrate tank. That we have studied ourselves pretty safely to rate whatever you want. So you could calculate a stronger solution could be added. But ideal is, like Shirley saying, if you have a tank of water coming in, then you add with that one. So it has already inactivated anything, and you're mixing a dilute solution.
Yeah. So in a water storage tank in your greenhouse, or in your calcium feed, not in your
calcium nitrate tank. But do contact me if you want a Zerotol, because Zerotol has peroxyacetic acid, which is more oxidizing. Many growers add iron chelate with the calcium nitrate. If we want to use hydroperoxy Zerotol, then no, we will add those who make their own solution.
We add iron to our fertilizer, and we do it to our nutrient barrel, not to our calcium barrel. We add it with all the other nutrients, not with the calcium.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? Surely we had a little contest. I was telling them about the photos you sent and about the seed, did you get a chance to upload it to your screen? Can we co-host you that you can show us those pictures you showed me this afternoon? Maybe unmute yourself. I will try, she says.
I should give her the permission to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Shirley, for some of you who came later, Shirley got some seeds sent, to her, and there's going to be a prize that you can win if you guess what seeds they are. You get the 2 weeks from now, the Zoom to the Greenhouse Chat. You get it completely free, just like everybody else.
Shirley, yeah, go ahead. You could share the screen.
So if I share my screen, what is that?
Yeah,
the green button at the bottom, where right at the bottom of your screen, there's a green button that says share screen.
Multiple.
Click that arrow.
Okay.
And
click
then
the green arrow. Yeah.
Wherever your picture is, you will see a window asking you share a window, share a.
Okay.
Try again.
Try again. Okay.
When you say share screen, what does the computer say?
Oh, it wants to know which desktop. Here we are. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Hold arrow and shift. Well, let's just see. Let's go this one. Let's try this. Share. Here. Open system preferences. Oh, I have to tell it with Zoom. Yes. Okay. All right. I've never done this before. Oh, it wants me to leave and reopen.
Okay. We had to do that with Tahiba before, and that worked. So
Oh, okay.
just end sharing. There's the red button that says end sharing. Click that first. Oh, we lost her altogether now. Whoops! I think she left us altogether. Where she may press the leave button instead of the
Yeah, so
sharing button.
she probably. Okay, I'll share this slide with you. Okay, Shirley.
No, I think when she pressed end share, I think she pressed leave. Oh, there she's back. Her icon is back. Connecting to
Okay,
audio.
I will show her slide. Okay, I'm sharing
Oh,
it.
okay. Did you
Okay.
did she send it to you?
Yeah, it was in the email system. So here it is.
Ah, okay, good. There we go.
Can you see it?
Yep, I can see it.
And I'm back. So yeah.
You're back.
Okay.
So tell us the story, Shirley.
Okay. So my mother-in-law lives in Penticton, and she has a very good neighbor who owns an orchard, and they're neighbors. So they spend a lot of time together. He at Christmas time he was talking to me about this flower and asking me if I could grow it or if I knew what it was. And it was the only description was it was a perennial in BC. It has purple flowers and it smells great. So I was like, oh, I have no idea what that could be. It could be a number of things. So the next day he came over and he brought me some seeds, but they weren't like they're not seeds. They're actually the cluster heads of the flowers themselves. So if you look at the one where Dr. Mirza is pointing to, they almost look like little ancient spearheads. And I was wondering, are those the actual seeds? There is one seed right above his, yeah, the little white one is kind of a seed, but I don't know where that came from. It's all part of, I just felt like I was pulling apart all the flowers, and then I saw those little things, those little arrowheads. So are those the seeds? Does anybody have any idea what kind of flower that might be? In the picture on the left, you'll see right kind of at the top, there's like a little stem on the top of it, but I assume again, that's like the center part of the flower and where everything fell off. And that's the bottom part of the flower. So yeah, if anybody knows, I'm going to throw some in some soil and see what happens, some potting soil, and see if anything grows. But
Shirley, my first reaction was Echinacea purpurea, but they're called cone flowers. It seems like a family composite. The family of Echinacea.
okay.
The way these clusters are, that was my first guess. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Augustifolia looks a little bit rounded, so this could be Echinacea purpurea. So worthwhile going into germinating a few, and then
Okay.
share with us in March, April.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Share
So
with us
should I plant those little arrowhead looking things?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
These
Okay.
are looking seeds.
like the different colored ones, could be an immature seed.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean it won't germinate, but just in because it's such a raw plant, you could get all kinds of stages of seed development. So I'd put it all in, and if it was an echinacea, you might have to stratify the seed, before it'll grow.
Yeah,
But if it's just a regular echinacea, then then you can just grow some regular echinacea, which is easier to grow than something from like this, and say, like, look at these beautiful plants. This is what it was.
Okay, so what was that word? Stratify it? What does that mean?
Yeah, so stratification means that most perennial seeds need a stratification. So the seed is formed, and then it requires a period of rest where it matures further, and then it's ready to germinate. So you have to break the dormancy of the seed. So the seed forms, and then you have to break the dormancy so it'll grow again. And in the case of echinacea, if you look up stratification, you know, you stratify echinacea seed or you stratify perennial seed. If you Google that, it'll give you different systems. Sometimes you have to put it in your fridge for a couple of weeks. Sometimes you have to grow it, put it in soil and put that in your fridge, or, you know, there's different methods for different seeds.
Okay. Thank you.
It'll be really interesting to see. Yes, keep us posted, you know.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Yes. I first thought it was, what did I say? I thought it was straw flower, you know, based on the shape of the seed and what I saw in the seed head. But, you know, the straw flower is not fragrant, you know, as an echinacea is. Monarda, you know, is perennial here, and it also has the purple flower and it smells a little bit like vanilla. So that could be the fragrance. So it could be either Monarda or echinacea.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, Michael, I've stopped sharing it.
Yeah, stop sharing.
Okay. And then you're ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, go ahead.
So Mirza's asked me to show a few things of what's ready at AGGA Greenhouses. Share. Oh. I should see if stop sharing. All right. Did you make me co-host, Mirza?
Yeah, I better do that. Co-host. Yeah, okay, Michael, try now.
Okay. Oops. So I'm trying to sharing. We're all having trouble here tonight.
Okay, now we see that, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you have gone to your email.
I closed it. It's called presentation. Here we go. All right. 29. Well, like I said, we had a bit of snow today. The snow piled up pretty good. We had a lot more than Calgary with their 2 inches. So at AGGA Greenhouses, this is week 9. We in our business we live by weeks. So screen sharing is paused. It says, okay.
Michael, you're exit out of this email.
All right. Why? There we go. Screen
So you stop sharing.
Stop sharing. Let me try it again.
Go it again.
There we go. Share. All right. So we had a bit of snow. Are we back?
Good.
Oh my goodness. So at AGGA Greenhouses, this is week 9. So we are beginning to ship, and this is so what we do is we gather all the items that we need for a certain ship period, like a week or a couple of days, depending on how busy it is. And we gather all the items that we need for those orders, and then we put them all on carts. And then from there, we take each individual order for the particular customer in that window. And then like a warehouse, we just take one of those, you know, etc. So there's a row of carts of all the things that we have collected today. And then tomorrow we'll start pulling orders, individual orders for people. So everything that is going out this week is on these cards. So week 9 is our first ship week of significance, and it goes exponentially more from there. So you see the row of cards here with the products on there. This is our we transplant strawberries over the course of a couple of weeks. You know, every 2 weeks we transplant some, and we needed the space, and we found that the strawberries were sitting everywhere. So we kind of all put them together. and started from the oldest to the youngest. So the oldest is in the front, and whoever's picking strawberries just has to go to this area and get the strawberries. Anytime we have some quarterline left over from one year to the next, we keep them, you know, till the following year, because it's a slow growing product, and we put them into 1 gallons. We look after them all summer, and then the following year it's a very nice plant for landscape purposes or large planters. So we do have some 1 gallon Dracaena, quarterline Dracaena available. This is what they look like on an individual basis. So that has been growing in our greenhouse for 2 years now, and then probably comes to us as a little seedling that's already 6 months old. So it's a 2.5-year-old plant. So that gives you an idea how slow quarterlines actually grow. I was walking around with my camera, so this is kind of a cross-section shot from the kind of the strawberry patch, you know, diagonally into the house where a lot of the seedlings are being held, ready for shipping. Here another cart of some seedlings, some coleus in the bottom, some lemongrass. There's some petunias there, and at the top there is some. Oh, we do grow cactus. We brought in quite a few cactus last year in 2022, and we sold them in 2023. And whatever was left at the end of the season, we potted up into 2.25-inch pots, and we sell them in multiples of 25. Here's some ornamental grass. This is Pennisetum purple baron. There's 2 kinds in that family. One is called purple baron, like this one, and the other one's called jade princess. So ornamental grasses, dracaenas, those are the kinds of things that are going out at this stage of the game. And we do have some mizu, or apnea, as if you want to call it that. Mizu is a very popular succulent, so we have those available this year. And that's the end of my presentation for today. So if there's anybody in the group that has, you know, any questions, anything that we didn't cover today, in 2 weeks we have Simon from Terralink. We have him presenting with one of the company experts on new chemicals that are available to us, you know, and also talk about, you know, the changing in regulations on how to purchase chemicals. So did we cover most things tonight? Mirza, is there anything else that
I'm just I noticed Prashant is here. Prashant, welcome. How about your 2 weeks of your greenhouse preparation? What's going on? Prashant, are you there? Prashant,
I'm there, yeah. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good, sir. I'm good.
Some good progress?
Well, our boiler is still not connected, so I'm waiting for that to be connected.
Okay.
So the previous owner, Dawn, she's going to come this week, but then we are having another cold snap.
Right, yeah.
So most likely that will be done next week. I was about to type a message, actually, Dr. Mirza, to yourself.
Yeah.
So the drippers that we have, they do have white deposits. So do they have to be cleaned, like, you know, by scrubbing with an abrasive, or like, you know, like a wire brush before we start the disinfection with the hydrogen?
Where are they? I mean, are you talking of the irrigation system or
the emitters?
What is the irrigation system, the drippers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you remove the drippers and soak them for 28 to 48 hours in a drum with the bleach solution, 1 part into 10 parts of water. And so take this commercial bleach, you know, your laundry bleach, 1 part into 10 parts of water. Just be careful, you know, you have a mask or something, or pour it there, let the dripper settle there, and then make sure that you could remove them with a glove and rinse them with water, so they should get cleaned up pretty quickly.
Okay.
Mirza,
Yeah.
Mirza, if I may argue here, so if you have a calcium deposit, that's a base material because it's calcium,
Yeah.
and then you're using bleach, which is also a base. We use vinegar to clean up the calcium deposits. Would that work as well?
Yeah. Vinegar, see, bleach doesn't work because of the pH. It's the oxidizing agent. So vinegar
Okay.
works because of the acidic pH. Absolutely, yeah.
Or does Tahiba have a product at Professional Gardener that?
Yeah, Taiba, what's your opinion for drip?
We recommend citric acid.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's very inexpensive and it's very safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Prashant, I did introduce you to Taiba, so drop her
Yes.
an email or talk to her and get some help from her, please.
I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
Tahiba, do you carry that citric acid like in a fairly concentrated form,
Yes.
or?
No, it comes in the form of powder.
Oh,
You can make 10% solution, 15% solution, and whatever you need to clean, you just dip in it. It's extremely safe. That's what we look for. Mostly, sometimes people use nitric acid, sulfuric acid as well, but
Yeah.
they are very corrosive to people and the drums. So we don't recommend that. But citric acid works awesome. So you can use that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I would like to come and see Prashant, your operation. If sometime I can give you a call. And we used to work with Debbie a lot, and
Okay.
Ted when he was alive, her father. So I'd like to come and see you sometime.
You're
So I
more
will
than
give
welcome.
you a call. Yeah, I will give you a call. If I can help with anything, please let us know.
Thank you.
So
I do have a question, follow-up question. It's a silly question, but I still have to ask. So there are about 4,000 rippers that we have. So do we take like all of them apart, put them in a drum, and then put them back?
okay, let me just give you a little advice.
Yeah.
First, look at the drippers, how clogged they are. If they are completely clogged, no matter what you do, you have to take a syringe and push the water through, solution through to open it up. If
Right.
they are really bad, then best bet would be to start new. They are not very expensive, and then they will save you lots of time and lots of grief. When you're going to clean it up, some may clean at the certain point and some may not. And then when the liquid fertilizer is coming out, it may not be evenly coming out. So you need to look at the drippers, how they look like inside. So that would be your first, then you can decide where you should go from there. If they are cleanable, then you can clean them. And if they're not, then my bet would be that you just replace them.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good advice, good wisdom there. They have been not used for almost a year now, Prashant, I guess. So they're probably in bad shape, I guess.
No, they were used until October, I guess. But I think but this is my opinion. Like I'm not an expert at all. Like very newbie. I think they have not been cleaned properly.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
season.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay, good. Excellent.
and anybody that uses hanging basket drippers in a ornamental business, it is a good idea to clean the lines. But if you still see a wild a white buildup, then soaking them, or if you have emitters that are spray nozzles or something like that, citric acid would be your friend, in that case. So
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Well, everybody. There's a new message. It says, Monarda or B-bomb are possible, is what Beth said, so, for the seeds. So we're going to find out here when Shirley grows these things to see what they look like as plants and as some of these start to flower. So, well, Mirza, I think we came to the end of our
Yeah, we
greenhouse
still
chat.
have few minutes. I'd just like to see Michelle Nab, what's going on in the Fairview area nowadays in your greenhouse. Michelle?
Yes. Just getting seeds started. I haven't turned the heat on yet, so I'm just in my seed room right now.
Okay, okay.
Pretty cold up here today.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Has anybody else started some seeds? Beth or Shirley, have you guys started seeding anything?
I have, Shirley here. Yeah, actually, this is the very first year I've started petunias. So with the Pantone color of the year being that sort of bronzy, peachy kind of color, I was looking through the catalogs or online, I don't know, when I saw that Tritunia salmon, and I fell in love with it, but I couldn't find anybody that was selling it. So I bought the salmon vein, the sky blue, the blue vein, and the white. And so I've seeded in the Ella pots, 100 of each. I've never, ever done that before. I have like a tent in the basement, and I've been anxiously like a new mom. Every morning I'm down there having a look, and it's just amazing to me. Like I can't believe that they're, you know, they're sitting on top of that soil, and I've kept them very saturated. And yeah, they're so tiny, but yeah, they're starting. So I'm pretty happy. So
Did they come pelleted, Shirley, or did they?
they did. They did. Do you remember when at the bedding plant workshop, and the gentleman was seeding there, and you said, boom, there, 1,000 petunias were seeded. It was the exact same vial looking like that, and they were pelleted yellow. So yeah.
Perfect. So, and Beth, have you started anything?
We turned the heat on this weekend, picked up plants from you last week. They're still in my house because we're thawing out the greenhouse, and I decided instead of trying to keep the greenhouse heated to 20, I would only keep it heated to 5 or 8 and let it slowly thaw out, and it wouldn't hurt the plants to be in the house for a little bit. And we'll turn the heat up tomorrow because I have to go to the airport for more plants. So
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
yeah, so we got all the water hooked up and everything on the weekend. So it's starting.
Yes. We got Debbie here joining in. Hi.
Hey guys.
Debbie has been upgrading the driving map, the Alberta driving map that you started on Google.
Yep.
Yes.
Sorry, I have a cold.
Come a little closer.
I have a cold, so I'm feeling terrible, but we have 193 greenhouses on the Alberta Drive map. And that's the highest we've ever had. We're super excited.
193.
Yeah.
And how they came to be is Debbie put in as many as she could, and then the rest have been based on, oh hey, there's a greenhouse in my area, can you put it on? You know, so there's been a lot of word to mouth and a lot of customers that have visited these independent garden centers and have volunteered the names. Right?
Yeah, I think it's really cool. And it's had over 330,000 views.
Yeah.
330 and 470,000 views.
Yeah. So if you go to how do you check it out if you're on there, if you're not sure?
If you can't find it, there's a link on my website, but I put a link in the forum a few times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So or go to Debbie's website.
Or if you just Google it on Google, you'll find it. But if you search it in Google Maps, I can't find it there. I have to Google it like in a web browser.
So make sure you're on the map so that people can find you.
Absolutely.
Because there has been there's a story of a lady that came in year 1, and she had bought a camperized van or something like that, and she was going to visit every greenhouse on the map. She was going to take the whole summer. She had just retired from teaching from like 30 years and was visiting every garden center. It was really cool. Yeah, it was. And she said a friend that was also retired and says, can I come? And then she said, no, you can't come because there'll be less room for plants if you come with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael, that's great. I'd like to thank our friends and the family from Saskatchewan. You know, I see Personalized there, Levi's there. Oh, you guys most welcome.
Yes. Yeah, you bet.
You're doing good.
Who, Levi?
Yeah, Levi, yeah.
Levi, have you started something?
Yes, I'm busy just with onions right now. One greenhouse is loaded. I think there are 250 trays of onions growing.
Oh, wow.
The first ones are peeking through already.
Okay, okay.
And are you going to put them in a cold frame later on, once they get a little bigger?
I can cool down this whole greenhouse. It's only for onions.
Oh,
All
okay.
custom ordered.
So you grow the onions there. You don't move them anymore. That's the onion house.
No, well, I only move them to give them a haircut. That's all I do, and
Yeah.
that's a big job.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, somebody found the map, on Google Map. So that's awesome. Yeah, make sure you're on. And if you send Debbie as the administrator, so if you are not on the map, please send her a message, and then she'll be able to add you. But you have to add a pin, right, Debbie? If you send somebody, send the pin.
Yeah, you have to have your own pin. I'm not making a pin.
Yeah, no, you have to have your own pin, and you have to send that, so that it's easier. So then it's in the correct spot. So.
Okay, we should thank everybody, Michael. And, next one will be March. March 11th.
Let's look at the calendar.
Yeah. March 11th. Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
March 11th.
Yeah. Tayyiba, if you could hang on, I'd like to check why our computer was not working.
Okay.
So rest of the people, please. Thank you very much. And
thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're
Have a great night, and thanks Tahiba for presenting, and Tracy had to leave earlier, but thanks so much, and thanks for Professional Gardener to be part of the industry. You guys are a very important part.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.
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 So Tayyiba, I'll give you permission again. And let's try your computer to see for next time.
Okay. I am on sharing screen.
Okay, I stopped the recording. So